All right, people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another live stream. Today, we are going to talk about BTC, the current state of Bitcoin. We are going to talk about the altcoin market, and we'll also talk about the stock market, and we'll also what else? We'll also talk about whatever that you guys are interested in. So welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday, Tuesday. What the day today? Today's Monday. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing Monday. If this is your first time right here, just do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. If you're watching, do me a favor and hit the like button. And let's get to it. All right, let's get to it. Maybe I'll wait for a few more minutes to allow more of you guys to tune in. But if you are here for the first time, once again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if you have some stuff that you would like me to analyze, feel free to put them in the chat. So, anyways, yes. I meant to say yes. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, I won't waste your time. I'm just going to jump straight to it. And we're going to start with Bitcoin. Let's start with Bitcoin, okay? So, Bitcoin is, trying to go back to $94,000. If you watch my update from about 2 days ago, I told you the pullback was most likely coming to an end, and I thought the price of Bitcoin was going to try $96,000 again. So looking at BTC on the daily, to me this looks really good. I think this is the beginning of a move that takes the price of Bitcoin to that $98,000 target that we talked about. And actually looking at this and looking at if price was to go up like this, we're looking at $98,000. All right. When we were back here, I was looking at 96, 97. But now, due to this pullback and due to where the price of BTC is in excuse me, where the price of BTC is, it looks like if we are going to see this yellow line, you're looking at $98,000. You're looking at $98,000. But 96 is definitely also, maybe instead of 98, we should say 95 to 98,000. So basically, I'm looking at this entire range. And if you actually think about it, guys, we have some sort of clear levels right here around $96,000. So if price goes up, you're looking at 96, but if we are going to retest, this trend line right here, you're looking at $98,000. So I'm just going to say somewhere around here, somewhere in this box right here. All right. So very exciting time. Shouldn't be too complicated looking at this. And once again, when you look at the entire structure, this is not the beginning of another bull market. This is pretty much a bear flag, which is a bearish pattern. And, once this is completed, you more likely are looking at a Bitcoin that gets rejected. The bear flag is going to be completed once we get this rejection right here. Once we get this rejection and then we come back down, we lose the support, and then we we end up with something like this. This is when the bear flag is going to be completed. Even if we do get rejected around $98,000, the bear flag is not completed until we lose the lows right here, and price comes somewhere around here, right? That will give us a very, very clean bear flag, okay? If you think about it this way, all right? If we go to the weekly, if we zoom out and we go to the weekly, we talked about 21 weekly moving average. The 21 weekly is right now $97,000. So we are actually below 98,000. So maybe instead of 98,000, we only hit $97,000. So my prediction is that, price comes back up, retest this blue line, it gets rejected, and then we go lower. All right, this is my prediction. Basically the same thing. It's just that on the daily, you get more price action. All right, you get more of a sideways price action compared to the weekly. When you go to the weekly, it's more a straight line. All right, so on the weekly, you have the low, and then you have price working its way back to retest the 21 weekly moving average. We also talked about the death cross. The 21 weekly crossing below the 50 weekly moving average is about to happen very soon. I don't think this is going to take too long. You see the blue line very close to the green line. Give it a couple weeks. We are going to get across. We are going to get across below, and that is going to be another reason to be bearish on this market long term. The last time we were confirming a death cross, you got to go back to around April of 2022, and that took place around $42,000, and we saw the price of Bitcoin crash all the way down to $15,000. So yeah, look, times like this, you have to be extremely, extremely careful. Those will be my update on BTC. I don't think I have anything else to share with you guys. My outlook is very simple and straightforward. The more I look at the current price action, to me, this is not anything like this. The makeup of it doesn't look anything very similar. It doesn't look anything like this one right here. It doesn't look anything like this one. To me, something different is happening for the very first time since January of 2023. And that, my friends, is not something that you want to play with. Ethereum, you look at Ethereum, we talked about what could potentially be taking place right now. I'm looking at this $2,100 if we do get lost within this triangle right here. I think this is not looking good for Ethereum. You go back to the daily. This is not bullish to me, if you ask me. Absolutely not. Even you look at the 200 daily moving average. I mean, this is a declining 200 daily, which is, it's just not good business for Ethereum. You look at, the characteristic of the current price action. To me, I'm not very excited. I don't have a reason to be excited. If I see a reason to be excited, then I'm going to share with you guys. But I just don't see it. All right, I really, really don't see it. We talked about Solana. All right, you look at Solana right now. You look at Solana right now. Where is Solana? Right here. I mean, to me, this is not looking good. Absolutely not, guys. You go to the weekly. And speaking of Solana, we just had a div cross. Remember, We had a div cross recently around December time. On a weekly, you just don't tend to get many fake outs, guys. Look, you might get one. We did get a fake out right here. We had a we had a div cross right here. This was a fake out. But to me, this one is real, man. And whenever you have, whenever the gap starts widening up, so whenever you have a gap like this where, your EMAs are going away from each other, that is also a sign of strength of whoever's in control of the market. So right now, the bears are in control of the market, and I'm looking at this, and to me, this is a sign of strength right here. If this blue line is getting away from this green line, this is not something that I want to play with. Even if you look at the MACD, guys, especially if you go to, if you go to the monthly, look, the MACD histogram. I'm looking at these bars right here. This is red. What this tells you is that the bears are currently in control of this market, and that actually started back in, April, not even April, actually March of 2025. For the first time, think about this, chat. Around November 2023, we finally got a green histogram, which was right here. That meant that the bulls were in control of Solana, and we were green, throughout 2024 and, January and February 2025. And then finally, we turn red. This is not something that you want to take lightly. And then once you have these bars right here, you see, these are histograms. Once they start getting bigger, that is a sign of momentum. So to me, the momentum is with the bears right now. And with this looking like this, I wouldn't want to be bullish on Solana long term. Absolutely not. In the short term, who knows what the price is going to do? We might go from $120 to 150, but it doesn't mean the bulls are back in control of the market. To me, yeah, this is not good, man. I wouldn't touch any of these projects long term. Absolutely not. Could I be wrong? Yes, but now when every single indicator screams bearish, this is not good right here. And again, when you go to the weekly and you pull up your EMAs, you see my 21 getting away from the 50. This is a disaster right here. Think about the last bear market, guys. This is exactly what you get. Notice how, you get a dev cross, and then look at how the blue line slowly gets away from the green. That is a sign of strength. I see this as a sign of strength. Whoever's in control of the market, if the bulls are in control, that's exactly what you get. So here you get a bullish cross. All right. And then look at the blue line, getting away from the green line. This is a sign of strength. Strength is with the bulls when this is happening. And I was talking about this, throughout the last bull market. So, yeah, do not take this lightly, guys. This is not something that you want to play with. This is only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And because of that, any short-term positive price action, get in and get out. All right, get in if it's a 10% gains. Take your profits, walk away, wait for another setup, do exactly the same. And then when there's time to go long again, from a long-term perspective, there's going to be time for that. It's just not right now. All right, now when they look like this, absolutely not. Once again, appreciate you guys for tuning in. If this is your first time right here, you know exactly what to do. Hit that subscribe button. If you're watching the live stream, you know exactly what to do. Hit the like button and let's keep the show going. This is the most excuse me. This is the most realistic crypto YouTube channel, guys. I'm not here to be a moon boy. I'm not here to only talk about the markets being bullish. I am here to look at the market and analyze it from an honest point of view. I am here to talk about exactly what I'm seeing in the chart, and even if it means being wrong with my analysis, I am absolutely fine with that. But anyways, look, the title of this live stream, of course, I said, hey, maybe it's the right time to pivot because why bother? I mean, honestly, you look at my watch list, the entire, I don't want to say the entire, but look at the equity market, guys. Green, green, green. And then you go down and you look at altcoins. I mean, what is going on? Right now, they're green because we just closed the day. So if I'm looking at AIOZ, look, we were red, man. Like, I mean, honestly, look at the pullback right here. Anyways, it's time to pivot. There's more positive price action in the stock market. And if you are a bag holder, like if you just have a bunch of these altcoins in your portfolio and, you out there hoping the 10x, the 20x, guys, hoping is not a strategy. Hoping is not a strategy. You got to have a strategy, a real strategy. You got to have a real strategy. Hoping is not a strategy, guys. And last time I was live streaming, I told you guys I felt like, most of these altcoins have actually topped already because they retested my 21 weekly moving average. I will give you guys an update on those altcoins, but you got to pivot. You got to be where action is taking place. You got to be where you're more likely to make profits. And to me, right now, that is in the stock market. That is in, other assets. So let's talk about the stock market. Why would you not want to be in things that are actually moving? The last time I was live streaming, I gave you guys a clean Alibaba chart. When the price was in the low $150 range, I told you, guys, this is very bullish. All right, you don't have to pay me to analyze this. And I'm giving you targets of $181 and $200. Guys, look, let's talk about why it's bullish in the first place. All you got to do is zoom out and go to the monthly. Alibaba is in a long-term uptrend. And what that means is whenever you do get pullbacks on the lower time, that is an opportunity to add on to your position. Look, you want to buy crypto, you want to buy stuff that are more likely to make you money. You want to make sure the setup is exactly this. And I'm not talking about the 1 minutes. I'm not talking about the 15-minute charts. No, I'm talking about the monthly time frame. So you look at recent consolidation. To me, that has come to an end. And this is exactly what a bullish consolidation looks like. And this is a clear breakout. I'm going to be very honest with you guys right now. If we close this weekly candle exactly where we are right now, anywhere above, pretty much, guys, look, anywhere above $156, that is a massive, massive weekly confirmation. That is basically the equivalent of, this breakout right here. That is the equivalent of this right here. And I'm telling you right now, this is the move that comes next. So price will go up. Yes, there will be pullbacks on the lower time, but those are not pullbacks that you want to run away from. So I'm looking at Alibaba right now. Congratulations if you jumped into a position when price was in the $150 range, low 150. And remember, if you watch my streams, I can't stress enough how important the 21 weekly is. Guys, this is not even crypto, but I want you to take a look at my retest. Look, price go from $192. We come back to retest the 21 weekly moving average. You absolutely can't make this up, guys. We came back to retest the 21 weekly moving average. The retest is now completed, and now this is the beginning of another major leg up. And if I have to make a prediction, I would say that we are going to get a move like this. All right, this was a 66% move. So if I take this and I put it right here, to me, that gives me a target of $230. I think that's exactly where we're going. Now, I don't just want to say that's exactly where we're going. I want to make sure I'm basing my target based on, previous resistance. So previous resistance in the short term, we have 181. And right after that, we have $206. But guess what, guys? Once you break above $206, your next major resistance is exactly in a $230 range. And that's exactly what this is giving us as a target. All right. You have a 50% price increase coming. Why would you, stay in the cryptocurrency market where things are extremely uncertainty, extremely volatile, all right? When you could simply look something like Alibaba, all right, quick research in terms of TA. I mean, there's really not much that you have to do right now. Look, I've done the work. So to me, this is a trade that makes too much sense. All right. This is a trade that makes too much sense. Not as financial advice, of course, guys. Go and do your own research. But Alibaba, oh my gosh. Alibaba is not the only one that I talked about. And going back into the cryptocurrency market, I think the last time I live stream, I talked about XMR. Chat, I told you, this is the only one that looks bullish long term. And because of that, price could potentially go up. And guess what, guys? We broke new all-time highs. Took out the previous all-time high of, $500 something. Now you got, Monero in the $600 range. And I'm going to tell you right now, $1,000 wouldn't surprise me. All right. Bullish right here. Probably it consolidates again. I don't know when. And then you get a breakout. And then you trade it. Now, is this a good time to jump in? In my opinion, probably not. Because, the breakout was right here. Right here was the right time to jump in. Or right back here was the right time to jump in. If I'm looking at Monero right now, I'm looking for, all right, I need to see some sort of a consolidation again. And then I'm looking to position myself. I'm looking to, put a stop loss below whatever the previous support is going to be. And I'm looking to ride it all the way up in the $700, $1,000 range. So Monero looks extremely bullish. All right, if you don't have a position, do not chase it. Wait for a setup. Patience. Guys, patience is a virtue. All right, patience really is a virtue. You got to be patient. Monero, I analyzed this in early 2024 when the price was around $190. And I told the members, I'm like, guys, this one looks very good long term. So you look at since our entry right here, guys, all the way up. Look, this is a position that's early up. That's already up more than 200%. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Can I analyze chemical stock? What is that? Is that chemical or gamical? What is the ticker symbol? CCJ. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So this one, yeah, long-term wise, very bullish, of course. Look, the only thing I'm going to say is this. All right, this is bullish, right? Okay, will I buy it? I don't think so. The reason is because, to me, it's extremely extended. Like, I don't want to be a buy. Look, trading, okay, but I don't want to be a buyer when the chart looks like this. Like, to me, I missed out, basically. And you can clearly see I analyzed this a long, long time ago. Yo, I analyzed this probably sometimes 2021, 2022, maybe 2023. I have no idea. But I definitely analyzed this maybe 2025. Who knows? But anyways, look, to me, guys, I like to be a buyer down here. I want to be a buyer down here. All right? When the breakout is taking place on the monthly. Okay? Right here, I wouldn't mind. But I want to be I really want to be a buyer. Way before the move goes parabolic. Right here, if I'm jumping in, the question I'm asking myself is, yo, what is my game plan? What is my exit? Am I trying to exit $150? Like, those are some of the questions that I ask myself. Now, this is a bullish setup. So what I would do is maybe I spend time on the 4 hour and then I'm looking for breakouts. So this was a good entry right here. Capture a good 20% move. I wouldn't jump in right here. Absolutely not. Maybe if we closed above 111, then I'm looking to get in. But what I like to see is I like to see consolidations first, before I do something. I like to see something like this, and then I jump in, maybe somewhere around here or somewhere back here. And then with a stop loss just right below, wherever the most recent lows are. But yeah, this one looks really bullish. No problem about it with me. The only problem is just way too extended on the monthly. Way too extended, guys. I would like some sort of a pullback. So the ones that I like, this is a great example right here. Zeta. I give you guys Zeta. Zeta, I'm on the weekly right here. This is a recent breakout. Like, I want to be a buyer right here. I don't want to be a buyer when the price of Zeta is all the way in the 60s, a couple months from now. If you go to the monthly, you can clearly see this is early in its uptrend. I don't know how long this thing is going to be around, but I'm gonna be very honest with you. The monthly MACD just gave us a buy signal. Chat, if you watch my streams, I always talk about you have to know where your bullish confirmation is taking place. The monthly MACD is confirming bullish in a bullish territory. So we are above the zero line. This is the type of bullish confirmation that you want to go with. Okay? Monthly RSI is around 65, guys. The last time the monthly RSI got all the way up into the higher 80s. If I'm looking at Zeta, to me, this is early in its long-term monthly uptrend. This is a stock that could potentially go into the $100 range. Potentially. Guys, I'm just throwing out numbers, okay? Do not take these numbers to the bank. But this is a stock, if you look back, we haven't even seen a parabolic move, all right? Zeta broke out back in July 2023, around $9. It ran all the way up to 37. That was November 2024. So we spent from November 2024 or the entire 2025 actually. We spent the entire 2025 pulling back. Finally, we got a breakout, all right? May 2025, we finally get a breakout, which was right here, guys. So think about this, guys. Its long-term pullback, literally an entire year of a pullback, has finally come to an end. And this is the beginning of a new, monthly uptrend. If I'm looking at this, you are looking at a beginning of one of the craziest. If I'm looking at this and I try to compare to the last time we had a run, this is basically Zeta breaking above $10 and running all the way up into 37. So this gives you about like a $50 Zeta. This is the equivalent of this entire run right here. So to me, Zeta, very, very exciting. If there's a stock where every single pullback is a big buy, this is one of them right here, guys. I mean, this monthly setup. Look, I die for setups like this, to be very honest with you guys. Like, setups like this, I die for them. Like, these are the setups I'm always hunting. I'm always hunting for something that's bullish long term. And then I spend most of my time on the lower time, waiting for some pullbacks, waiting for some consolidations, because that is where opportunities are. So if you were looking at Zeta, I'll give you an example. Recently when price ran all the way up to around $22, this was the pullback to take advantage of. We came all the way back to 15, guys. I mean, you absolutely can't make this up. Currently up about 50%. We're going way, way higher. All right, we are going way, way higher. Guys, there's nothing to talk about when it comes to altcoins. Like, honestly, it's a waste of my time. It's a waste of your time. Right now, you got to pivot. You got to pivot. You got to go where things are actually happening. I'm gonna share another one with you guys. This is a position that I'm actually in, and this is extremely early in its uptrend. Chat, if we close this weekly candle above this 21 weekly moving average, it's go time. All right. But of course, we'll be better if we can get above this $4.41, just taking out the previous high right here. That would be extremely bullish. But to me, I mean, this is, once again, these are the setups that I died to come across. When I see a setup like this, I'm always, let's go. This is exactly what I was looking for. Now, the monthly is not as good. To be very honest, the monthly is not as good. The monthly is going to come good, once the price goes above $9. I do want to be honest with you guys. If price can get above 9, that will accomplish something extremely significant, because this is going to give us our very first high. I mean, even right now, if I'm looking at this looks like a high right here, which is a lower high, if you go from right here. But this gives us a higher low on the monthly. So the next impulse move, breaking above $9 will be extremely important. And then you get another pullback probably towards, $5 range. And then price goes all the way up to retest, this $22 all-time highs. This is, something that could potentially play out. But remember, we are dealing with a monthly, so, this could take 2-3 years. This is not next week, guys. No, this is, a long-term outlook. But if I go back to the weekly, I mean, to me, this is a lovely setup. Once again, I do have a position from around, I think my average is $3.90 something cents. So my position is not far from here, somewhere down here. I'm up probably, 5-10% maybe. But I'm excited. Yeah, this is a very good looking setup right here. We talked about others, of course. We talked about others. What else did we talk about? I shared with you guys ASTS chat. I keep telling you about this one. Today we got around $100 again. So we are basically attempting to break above this this resistance right here. Once you break above this resistance, it's go time. All right. Once we break above this resistance, it is go time. You go to the monthly. I mean, this thing looks extremely bullish, guys. We just had an entire month of a pullback. If you go to the daily, you can clearly see this was a big pullback. If you were looking at this, all right, probably got scared and, thought price was going much lower. But whenever your monthly looks like this, never, ever, ever panic when the short-term pullback is taking place. Sometimes it could take a month. Sometimes it could take 2-3 months. But those are just short-term pullbacks, and they always, always come to an end. So, yeah, look, the stock market is exactly where it's at right now. Even if I'm looking at Robinhood, Robinhood, this is a bullish consolidation. I would be a buyer right here, if I was looking at Robinhood. Once we break above, this 130 something whatever dollars, you're looking at Robinhood pushing all the way up in the $200 range. If this is an entry right here and we go all the way up to around $200, this is a 70% move, guys. To me, opportunities are in the stock market. If you stock in the cryptocurrency market, I don't know what to tell you at this point in the cycle. Like, I really, really don't know what to tell you. So let me analyze altcoins because, some of you guys not really interested in stocks, but just want to give you a heads up, all right? Do not be a bag holder. Don't be waiting for the cryptocurrency market to turn around, guys. This is going to take a long... Look, if I'm right, this is going to take a long time. If I'm wrong, this is a good time to jump in, accumulate whatever that you think is going to do well, and then, we'll see a couple weeks from now. But anyways, let's talk about altcoins, and then probably I do one more and we'll be done. So I won't spend no more than 10, 15 minutes and then we're done, guys. All right, so let me talk about altcoins. So once again, to be in the altcoin market, I mean, it is a waste of time, in my opinion, right now. None of these altcoins show any long-term bullish setup. No, I don't want to say none of them. XMR, okay, Monero is got a long-term bullish outlook, and this is why price of Monero is in the $600 range today. But anyways, let's talk about these altcoins right here. My belief is that a very good chance, a very, very good chance, Zcash has put in a top of this rally right here. When I was looking at Zcash, yes, on the weekly, still very bullish, but on the weekly, I thought probably we have already topped right here, and I thought this was a move that was going to put in a weekly lower high, and I think that's exactly what we did. Now, why do I think that? Simply, if you look at the, if you look at this entire range, all right, this is not something that you normally see, during a bullish uptrend. Normally, pullbacks, they don't look like this. Normally, pullbacks, they look, let me show you what pullbacks normally looks like. Pullbacks, they normally look like this, chat. They normally look like this, all right? They look like this. They don't look like this. This is a bear flag, if you ask me. So, you go down and you look at every single pullback. Every single pullback. This is a big one right here. Every single one of them, when the chart was bullish, they look, I don't want to say identical, but they look, very similar pretty much. But I was looking at this, this is a breakdown. To me, this is a retest of the breakdown. Probably price goes up, retest the moving averages, gets rejected, and then down we go. I'm looking at this 21 moving average on the daily, guys. It looks like we're about to see a death cross. I mean, another reason not to be bullish, if you ask me. So, but we'll see. You know, give it a couple of weeks, and then of course my target. I'm looking at this, below $200 basically. I'm looking at between 180 to 225. That would be my Zcash target. And what I'm gonna say is this too. I'm also gonna say this. This rally right here, this is going to provide entries for those that are looking to short Zcash. I will absolutely short it. Let's say price comes back to 440. I will absolutely short it with a stop loss, just right above, probably above. I'll probably put my stop loss above, 230. All right, 230, guys. So let's see what that. So let's see what a show probably looks like. So let's say this is an entry. Let's just go with this. Let's say this is an entry right here. And the target is down here, guys. You're basically aiming for, let's just go with a 45% profits. And, if stop loss is right above here, okay, this is not a trade that I would take. Absolutely not. So yeah, entry, I got to be careful. I got to make sure my entry is up here. If my entry is here, my stop loss probably somewhere around here. All right, just right above these EMAs. And I'm going after a 45% move. My risk is 10%. I'm okay with that trade. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. To me, that is a trade that, that makes some sense, okay? But anyways, we're here to analyze. We're not here to take trades. That was not financial advice. Make sure you do your own research. But altcoins, they just not worth it. In my opinion, they are a waste of time. There's better looking charts out there, not in the cryptocurrency market, in the stock market. If I'm looking at Jasmy, guys, look, Jasmy got rejected exactly by his 21 weekly moving average. And look, yes, it is early, but look, this is already now looking good. I think by the end of, the next couple of weeks, you see the price of Jasmy back to these levels. We are going to get rid of this entire, was it a 200% move? Was it a 200% move? No, almost a one. Yeah, we're going to get rid of this entire 90% pump, guys. I mean, a disaster. We talked about XEN. Some of you guys got very excited with this project. Maybe not you more specifically, but I told you guys, look, I think the top is in, and I think this is the beginning of, getting rid of this entire 200% pump. Yo, this weekly does not look good. Going back to, guys, you got to keep your eyes on these EMAs. Yo, we had a death cross in October of 2025. All right, October 2025, we had a death cross. And I just said to you guys, when these EMAs are getting away from each other, that is a sign of momentum. Like, the momentum is very strong. Whoever is in control of the market, just, be okay with it, all right? If you bearish, if you're bullish but the chart is bearish, respect the trend and just stay on the sideline. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. This is not a good looking chart. My expectation is that we are going to see exactly this right here, guys. Notice how there's a bigger gap between the blue and the green line. I think this is exactly what we are going to experience over the next, I'm just going to say it right now, over the next couple of years. This is not going to take a few months. Like, if you think XCN turns bullish long-term in 2026, like, honestly, God pray for you guys. Like, honestly. So I'm looking at this, and I think, this is going to be a disaster. Like, this is going to be a disaster for many, many investors. And I was looking at over YouTube today, even yesterday. I'm on YouTube. I do content. I talk about the cryptocurrency market. I was looking at some XEN price prediction, price analysis, and I'm like, yo, what is going on? All right. How are people comfortable talking about how bullish this is? This is not bullish, guys. Once again, I could be wrong, but we'll see how this plays out. Let's go to the MACD histogram, all right? If I'm on the monthly, okay, you got a few, if I'm on the weekly, you got a few green right here. Now, this may look like, this is something, maybe the beginning of something. But Chad, let me be honest with you. All you gotta do is go to the monthly and look at the setup. This is a losing momentum right here, guys. Look, all right, this is declining. I'm gonna be very honest with you. Give it a couple months. This is going to turn red, and once this turns red, it is over. All right, absolutely over, guys. Going back to the weekly, I think the only reason we have some green right here, it is because this was a very big move. I mean, this is a 200% pump. If you go back in the bear market, just in case some of you guys are thinking, whoa, there's something there. No, guys, there's nothing. Look, we went sideways right here, and we were green right here. All right, look at your MACD, way, way down, guys. You don't want the MACD to be right here. Like, this is a disaster. You want the MACD to be up here. All right, up here, guys. This is where you want your MACD to be. Anyways, so yeah, looking at XCN, I mean, I absolutely don't like. The only way for me to change my opinion on XCN, price will have to break above 2 cents. If price was to break above 2 cents, let's say we break above here, all right, we come back, we retest whatever the levels, and then we bounce, then my opinion of this long-term downtrend will change, and I will be bullish on on XCN, and I can start to talk about how incredibly long-term bullish this is. But until a setup like that takes place, I am on, I mean, my outlook is bearish. Definitely bearish. None of these altcoins, all right? Like, honestly, at this point, it's just a waste of time analyzing altcoins. Jasmine, short term, yeah, we got a little move. But you go to the weekly, you go to the monthly. I mean, oh my gosh. What is here to talk about? Like, honestly, guys, this is bad. Very bad. All right, this is looking pretty bad. Look, I mean, I don't even want to say where the price of Jasmine is going. Yo, I'm looking at $8. Yo, Chad, you lose 8. It could be bad. All right, honestly, it could be bad. And look, I'm not trying to put fear in any of you guys. I'm just looking at the market, and I'm just calling it as it is. XRP, I told you probably the top was in. Now, XRP on the weekly still looks really good. We got to be honest on that. On the weekly still looks really good. But, excuse me, no, this is a monthly. On the monthly still looks really good. On the weekly, this is not looking good. We got some work to do. It looks like XRP is about to give us a bearish cross. All right. This blue line, once again, goes below the green. It's over, man. It is over. Yo, 2026 is just, yeah. Altcoins, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, none of them look good. None of them look good. You got to be careful out there. Trade them short term, here and there, boom, boom. But long term wise, forget it. All right, guys. Look, let me take a look at that last project, and then I will be done. Uranium. Didn't I talk about that the other day? Nerve Shore. What is the ticker symbol? All right, right here. Yeah, look, this is good. This is really, really good. All right, now, perfect time to get in was definitely back here around 6 cents. Oh, wow, man. This is a 400% pump. Yeah, this is really, really good. July time, this was the right time to jump in. I mean, a clear breakout. Bang. I mean, look at your EMAs. Once again, talking about signs of strength. Look at this right here, guys. Look at the gap between the two EMAs. This is a sign of strength right here. Yeah, this looks really good. So pullbacks with this one, like, this is a great buy opportunity right now, actually. All right, pullbacks with this one are big, big buy opportunities. As long as we continue with these higher highs, higher lows, this looks, this looks really good to me. If we can break above this 30 cents resistance, then you're looking at, much, much more higher targets. But, yeah. Yep. All right, Chad, look, appreciate you guys. Hopefully that was helpful. And see you guys next time. Peace out.